Okay, good morning. Happy Portal Tuesday. I'm going to make sure that we are live and in the right place before before we really get underway. I have a lot to say in a short amount of time today with the questions that came in for today's portal. So if you're here and you are live, please say hello so that I can say hi to you. If this is your first time joining me on the portal live call or the first time joining me on any live call, please let me know. I love to see that. If it's not your first time, also, please let me know. Repeat offender, which I welcome. So thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you are here. All right, let's see what we got. Are we live? Are we live? Here we are. Okay, cool. We're rocking and rolling. Good morning, Christy. Good morning, good morning. I got this awesome question, and I feel like I need to like pull myself in before I talk for like 3 hours about it. We're going to keep it short. We're going under 30 minutes today. That's the point of these calls anyways, to be short and concise and purposefully packed. So the question that we received for the portal today, or one of the questions, and the one we're going to talk about, was how do I start bringing more of the feminine flow into my business? And gosh, this was such a great memory for me today to step into this question, because it truly has been in the past year. What I flip-flopped in my business was I went from strategy, tools, skills, masculine to more feminine. Like I really, maybe 20% feminine last year and the year before, like all my years in business up until the last year, if that makes sense. And what flipped, not flopped, in February of 2022 was this insane shift from more masculine, less feminine to mostly feminine, a little bit of masculine. So I love this question because I think that right now, the most important thing that women can do in their businesses is really get in touch with the feminine flow and bring in the feminine energy in their life and also into their business. We have people who are looking for more femininely led coaches because people are realizing that when we're when we're led by the masculine energy, which is what we've been taught in our education, right? We talked about this a little bit last week on the portal, but it's like everything is do this to get this result. Pass the test to get to the next grade. Go to college to get a job, right? We've been very linear and strategic in the way that we've lived our lives. And then when we come to coaching and we do that, and we do exactly what somebody else does, it doesn't always work for us. So how do we tap into the feminine, which I know is the answer, as a blend with the masculine energy to build our businesses? What does that actually mean? The first thing I think that we need to do when we bring more feminine flow into our business is that we need to, I kind of hate that term, we get to commit to the long term. When we're led by masculine strategy, tools, and skills, what we believe happens is we do this and we get this right away. We do this one time and we get this result. What the truth is, and the reason why most people quit, is because they do the thing and they don't get the result. And the reason why they do the thing and they don't get the result is because they're a different person than the person who told them to do the thing to get the result, than the person who did the thing and got the result. Every single one of us is purposefully different. We all have unique strengths. We all have unique skills. We all have unique things that we're talking about in leading. We all have a unique mission. So how can one set of strategies, how to get 100 followers on Instagram, that worked for one person, be replicated and work exactly the same for the next person? It literally cannot. So when we commit to bringing more feminine flow into our businesses, we actually commit to a long-term goal, because we know that part of bringing feminine flow in is truly understanding ourselves. What we're doing is we're taking time to sit with who we are, to figure out what we love, to figure out what makes us tick, to figure out what our passions are, to figure out what our values and our desires are, what we love, and what we want to teach. So bringing more feminine into our business is first and foremost a relationship to ourselves, and that takes time, because for so many of us, we've been in this world where we have pushed our relationship to ourselves aside so that we can take care of everyone else, right? And also like build this business. We have to move. We have to do. We have to build this business. And along the way, we lose that connection to ourselves. So when we want to bring more feminine flow in, which is so important, this balance between masculine and feminine so that we can grow in a wholesome, non-burnout type of way in business, we get to commit long-term to our growth. This is something that never stops. Never stops. So number one is committing to long-term to ourselves. Okay. The second thing is actually creating space. Creating space in your life to reconnect, to be creative. One thing that will set your business apart from anyone else's business is your creativity and your innovation. How many, let's just say, fitness coaches are there out there? Thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. I don't even know the real number. I'm just making it up. How many fitness coaches are there? What makes you and your offers different from the next person? It's not really the content that you teach, right? You could have the same exact content from one coach to another coach, but it's the way that you have embodied that content, the way that you have embodied the leader who has been there, done that, who has lessons, right? You've embodied what you're teaching, and now you are leading from the embodied self. Anyone can go to YouTube, can go to the internet, can go to anywhere they want to, take notes on things. I just saw it happen. I have a friend who has an amazing fitness business. He has created this programming that he first embodied, went through, tested out for a long period of time, put it in a program, in a PDF, and sold it. And it did very well. And what he just came up against was another person, fitness coach in the industry, took his PDF, grabbed the information from it, put it in his own PDF, and sold it as his program, and he's making money off of it. Why does that work? Well, both of those people were embodied in a fitness, I don't want to say routine. Both of them are embodied fitness instructors, right? They both have been in this field for a while, have proven themselves. He just took what this guy was doing, grabbed it, put it into his programming, and sold it. Now, is it working as well for the guy who just grabbed it and sold it? No, of course not. Because even the little innuendos in this guy's programming, my friend, even the little notes that he has in there that are in his own voice, when they are snagged and put in someone else's program, people don't feel the feeling. They don't feel like this guy is embodied in this because he wouldn't talk that way, right? He doesn't talk that way. People know if people know this person, they know this is not his own words, and it doesn't create a good feeling. So what you're doing is you're embodying the person. You're understanding your tone of voice. You're understanding how you talk to yourself, and then you're understanding how you talk to other people. Like when I go to create when I go to create content, I don't just sit down and type. I actually take out my voice recorder or my note section and I speak into my phone. Why? Because I am envisioning myself talking to a friend, speaking about what I want to talk about. I use all the words I normally would use. I don't stop myself from saying anything I wouldn't say. I record my voice saying what I want to say, and then I go back in and make sure my punctuation is good and my grammar is good for the most part. And then I post it. Your relationship to yourself is removing this comparison to other people. Removing the need to look at other people to see how they're doing it so that you can then go create. Relationship to yourself is just creating from your heart. And the only way that you can do that is coming back home to yourself and rebuilding that relationship to yourself. So you need long-term commitment and you need space. Space to just think. Space to have nothing going on. Now, I can hear it already if you're saying, but Gwen, my life is so busy. Make space. I know that you can. If the way that things are going for you right now are not working to the best way that you want them to, they're not producing the results that you want, what needs to change? Something that you're doing or not doing. And if you're not making space for it, nothing is going to change. We all have 20 minutes in the kids' pickup line, 20 minutes on the toilet, 15 minutes in bed before you go to sleep. Wherever you can squeeze that in, because here's the thing. I built my very first business in the 5 to 9. So lots of people work the 9 to 5. I built my business after the 9 to 5. It was in the 5 to 9. So I got off of work. Actually, I built it at lunchtime. So at lunchtime when I had my break, I was watching videos, taking notes, attending programs, working with a mentor. I was doing something in that hour every day because I wanted it badly. And then I would leave work at 5, go pick up my kid from daycare, go home, cook dinner, put the kids to bed. It wasn't really 5 to 9. It was like 8 p.m. to 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't suggest hustling till 2 o'clock in the morning. If you have to get up the next day for a job, I don't suggest doing that. There are better ways to do it. But what I'm saying to you is that you have the time. If you truly desire to make the changes, you have the time. You just have to create it. So I built a successful business from 8 o'clock at night when my kids went to bed until I went to bed. And then I got up the next day, I worked my job, and I did that until I could make a shift where I was working less for someone else and working more for me. And that took time. So see how that time commitment to yourself and making space, right? You don't think Taylor Swift is like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Like, I definitely can't create any good songs. I can't write any good songs. I'm so busy. My life is so busy. I have this going on and this going on. No, she intentionally has time in her day where there's nothing going on so she can just sit. And it's in those moments of going out for coffee with friends or walking in nature or doing any of the things that you desire to do where the creation and the innovation comes from. If you're sitting down and you're trying to schedule creation, it's not going to happen. You have to live your life in those times. You have to create space to live your life. If you're not living your life, we have a problem, right? Because it means that you're just going to work and then coming home and then waking up and doing the same thing. And you're not living in the moment, which is where the greatest fun and the greatest desires get to happen and where you get to create life that you love. So giving yourself time, space, intentionally to live is where creation and innovation come from. The hardest part about this is, how do I keep going? How do I hold this energy continually? This is our emotional regulation. This is figuring out who we are. This is understanding our emotions and how we feel and how that reflects in the physical world and understanding how to manage them. This is self-awareness and emotional regulation, right? That learning curve is part of giving yourself space. Without space, we cannot learn about ourselves, which means we can't bring the feminine into our business. Every single person in this world has, what do they call it? Microwave syndrome, right? You can put anything in the microwave for 30 seconds and it's warm and ready to eat. We believe that when we decide we want something, that we should have it the next day or the next hour or the next whatever iteration. So many people have forgotten that we actually have to build trust with ourselves. And we have to show up in this trust, embodied in the trust, for us to have access and to magnetize those things to us. We are not a microwave business. It's not how this works. So emotional regulation, nervous system regulation, self-love, self-care, just having space is bringing more feminine flow. Exploration. It's an exploration of self. And it might look a little bit different for everybody. But it is one of the most important things that you can do for your business. Maybe it means that you start going to yoga, or you start doing breath work, or you start hiking, or you start taking some sort of class or skill or something that you have been putting off, but you've said, I've always wanted to start doing that thing. I know that right now you cannot see the connection between, if I just start doing what I love, it will make my business grow. Like, those two things linearly in your mind, I know don't make sense, because we have been told you must follow this strategy to get this result. But I am telling you, if you do follow this strategy to get this result, you will not build a business that is unique to you, that feels good, that is an absolute turn on, that makes a lot of money, that makes a lot of impact, and is rewarding for yourself. You'll build a microwave business. And I don't think that's very rewarding. So here is your sign. Get with community. Listen to people. Listen to them. Just listen. Instead of being like, oh, I could be doing so many other things right now. When you have a conversation with a friend, or you meet someone for coffee, or you're talking to your husband, how present are you in each moment? Connect yourself with community. Connect yourself with communication. And respect yourself enough. Love yourself enough to build the most amazing relationship to yourself, with yourself, knowing that over time, it will be the best thing that you bring into your business as a skill. We all just want to sit here and say, I'm doing what I love, and so the money should just be flowing to me. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Yes, there is work. There is strategy, there are tools, there are skills that we need to build, but that is such a small percentage. If we have that and we don't have our relationship to ourselves, we can't build a business that feels really good. So, how do I start bringing more of the feminine flow into my business? Commit to the long term. Settle in with a mentor. Find someone who will hold you accountable, who feels really good, who challenges you a little bit, who pushes you a little bit outside of the usual things that you are comfortable doing, right? Allow yourself to get uncomfortable a little bit and give yourself space to explore without expectation. Just be in the moment. And don't get hung up on, if I do this, I'll get this. Just come home to yourself and allow yourself to be. I hope that makes sense. That was such a huge topic for me. I have a post coming later today with a comparison from a year ago to today, and I'll tell you the shifts that have happened from a year ago. I have a picture of myself crying in the bathtub a year ago. And you would look at me today. I'm obviously not sitting in the bathtub crying today, right? I took a picture of myself right now. The comparison from a year ago. What has changed, it's not money that made me happier or felt more connected or felt more at home. It was understanding myself more over the past year. If you haven't explored that, I'm going to recommend that you do that. If you haven't checked out, by the way, the retreat we just launched in Sedona, Arizona, called Nourish, which is intentionally created for you to be nourished, for you to come back home to yourself, for you to learn how to connect, for you to retreat so that you can intentionally give yourself space to be creative and to be innovative and just to be with sisters in community. It is the very best thing that you can do, not only for yourself, but for your family and also for your business. I'll drop the link to Nourish below if you have questions. Let me know. We are going May 3rd through 7th, and we are going to be there in the full flower moon, which means that we will be doing some fun. It may or may not include glow in the dark body paint and dancing under the full moon in Sedona, Arizona, the magical vortex of Red Rock. So I'll drop the link in the comments, but this was such a good question. Thank you so much for asking it. I hope that was super helpful. Make sure you get your questions in for next week as they pop into your head. Just come in the portal and drop your questions and we will get to them next week. I love you so much. I hope you guys have the most amazing day.